After 7 years of marriage, I received a package at home sent by my wife. Inside was a DVD. It reads, "Unforgettable beautiful memories with loved ones." I smile blissfully, thinking how romantic my wife is. She's kept our wedding video safely preserved all this time. As I inserted the disc into the player, the screen displayed images of my wife entangled with her young male assistant. Their pleasure spot was right by the floor-to-ceiling windows of her office. Just as I was shaking with anger, wondering if this was some deepfake scam, my phone vibrated. Messages from my wife flashed on the screen. "Darling, I accidentally mailed an important document home. Don't open it when it arrives. I'll have my assistant pick it up immediately." My breath caught, and the world suddenly spun. Until then, I'd clung to a sliver of denial, but Chloe's message undeniably confirmed the DVD's contents were real. I didn't reply to the message immediately as I usually would, and soon Chloe called me via FaceTime. "Darling, why aren't you replying when your precious wife sends you a message? Tell me honestly, are you secretly preparing some anniversary surprise behind my back?" Chloe gave me a coquettish smile as she whined playfully, appearing no different from usual. My blood was gradually turning cold, and I had no idea how to face this woman I had deeply loved for over a decade. "Sweetheart, you don't look well. Have you been exhausted from working nonstop these days?" Chloe softened her tone, her eyes brimming with concern for me. "Just rest at home today. Once I finish these few meetings I have on hand, I'll rush straight back for some sweet alone time with you. By the way, Leo Vance is coming to pick up a package later. Remember to let him in." With that, as usual, she blew several kisses to the camera before hanging up the phone. I couldn't utter a single word the entire time, only feeling as if a lump of cotton was stuck in my throat, my chest filled with agony and bitterness. No matter how much I racked my brain, I simply couldn't comprehend. Even if someone in this world were to cheat, how could it possibly Chloe? We were childhood sweethearts, and our families had been close friends for generations. Everyone had long assumed we would end up together. After sharing every precious first between us, she nestled blissfully in my arms and tenderly leaned in to kiss my lips. "Ethan, you're the only true love of my life. I want to spend forever with you, never apart." For those words of love from her, I would willingly give everything I had. Even when the Miller Group was mismanaged and on the verge of bankruptcy 7 years ago, I went against all opposition to help the Miller family turn things around. Amidst the envious gazes of everyone, I hosted a citywide sensation of a wedding for Chloe and brought her home in grand style. After marriage, because Chloe was afraid that having children would affect her health and beauty, I agreed to remain child-free. No matter how unreasonable her demands were, I would go through fire and water for her. Everyone says I've spoiled Chloe rotten. I wouldn't even dote on my own daughter this much. I just smile faintly in response. She's my wife, of course I'd cherish her like a treasure in my poems. Spoiling her makes it harder for others to steal her away. Chloe would always nestle in my arms, cooing that I'm the only one in this world who loves her unconditionally, and she'd never allow anyone to come between us. Yet on the TV screen, there she was, writhing beneath another man. In moments of passion, he would even loudly call the other darling. When Leo Vance first came to the company for an interview, I could tell this man had great ambition. There was a wolfish glint in his gaze. When he looked at me, there was no respect, only a faint trace of provocation. Chloe said the company needed talents like him, pioneering spirits who could help drive innovation. In private, she once confided in me the truth, saying Leo had that bad boy charm that resembled a male celebrity she had a crush on. I didn't feel jealousy or anger at the time, just shook my head with a light laugh, wondering when my pampered wife would ever grow up. After over a decade together, it never crossed my mind that Chloe could betray me. Not until the evidence of her affair stared me in the face did I realize I'd been the childish fool all along. Just as I was feeling troubled, a loud knock exploded at my ears. "Mr. Hayes, open up. I'm here for the documents." Leo Vance stood at the doorway in designer streetwear, his hair slicked with gel, hands in pockets and posture oozing nonchalance. At first glance, you'd mistake him for some high-end host from a nightclub. It was this utterly unreliable man who actually managed to steal Chloe away from me. For a split second, I wanted to smash my fist into Leo's handsome face, the face that always wore that irreverent grin, and watch him wail at my feet. But marriage isn't child's play, especially not mine with Chloe, involving as it did the livelihoods of tens of thousands across both our family companies. I handed Leo the sealed document envelope, and just as he turned away, I suddenly spoke. "Wait a second." Leo froze momentarily, turning to look at me with a trace of guilt flashing across his face. "What's wrong?" I gestured toward his open collar with a tilt of my chin and said calmly, "There's a red mark here." "Did a mosquito bite you?" That position and shape, anyone with experience would know exactly what it meant. Leo, however, picked up my words with a meaningful smile. "Yeah, company mosquitoes, clingy as hell. Can't shake them off no matter what." My heart felt like it had been slashed by a knife. The pain made the corners of my mouth twitch, and I barely kept my expression under control. After Leo left, I changed into a nondescript gray sweatsuit and drove after him. His car twisted and turned through the streets, but instead of heading to Chloe's company, it wound up entering a secluded, scenic gated community on the outskirts of the city. It wasn't until I saw this familiar scenery that I suddenly remembered several years ago when this development first opened. I had brought Chloe here to view properties, planning to buy an apartment for our retirement. Chloe had laughed at me back then, teasing me for acting like an old man still in his prime years worrying about retirement. After just one tour, she pulled me away and left. Leo's car came to a stop in front of a garden villa brimming with roses. My pupils dilated with shock as I clearly recognized it. This was the exact same unit I had shown Chloe all those years ago. While I was still dazed, a familiar slender figure had already run out of the house and thrown herself into Leo's embrace. No matter how much I didn't want to admit it, I could recognize Chloe at a glance. She clung to Leo, demanding one passionate kiss after another before finally speaking in that soft, honeyed voice of hers. So, he didn't notice anything? I'd been worried sick. Leo shook his head with a disdainful snort. That guy's always been full of himself. Even if you slapped the evidence right in his face, he'd never believe anyone would dare to cheat on him. He was right about one thing. It wasn't because I was arrogant, it was because I trusted Chloe. She'd been by my side for 7 years, weathering every storm together. Watching them walk hand in hand back to the villa, my eyelid barely twitched. I made a phone call. Mark, you've got connections at Bayview Villas, right? Do me a favor. At first I was reluctant to explain what had happened, but when Mark learned I was trying to catch someone cheating, he immediately insisted on coming over personally. Wait, what the hell's going on here? Mark arrived in a flurry of dust and exhaustion. Earlier, he'd already arranged for the community security to pull up the surveillance footage for me. After reviewing the surveillance footage, I realized that every time Chloe claimed she was working overtime, she was actually coming here to meet Leo. Mark fell into silence after checking the cameras too. After a long pause, he finally spoke. I truly never imagined Chloe could be this kind of person. If you don't want to handle this situation personally today, I can help you. Mark sighed heavily. He had witnessed my journey with Chloe from our first meeting all the way to our marriage. But I simply shook my head and said, no need. I'll have to face this eventually. I'll handle it myself. I'm right in the villa across from Chloe, watching them cuddle sweetly in the garden. Chloe's genuine smile nearly broke me. She hasn't smiled at me like that in years. When are you going to come clean to that idiot husband of yours, darling Chloe? Leo hugged Chloe from behind. Hearing this, Chloe hesitated for a moment, but only for a moment. No rush. Once his birthday celebration is over, I'll make everything clear to him. The Miller family no longer needs the Hayes' support to stay afloat. I'm a free woman now, I'll do as I please, and no one can stop me from chasing my freedom. Chloe revealed an unusually wild side. She'd always appeared rational and sensible around others, including me, never one to act on impulsive emotions. No wonder she said when she first hired Leo into the company that he was ambitious, full of ideas, and daring to try new things. Perhaps that was when she fell for him. Immediately after, I called Chloe. She glanced at her phone but hung up directly. Baby, I'm busy. I'll make it up to you tonight. She quickly sent me a message. Yet in reality, she was kissing Leo, doing things in the garden that would make anyone blush. I didn't reply further, instead posting a status update about viewing properties at Bayview Villas. The photo was of the villa where Chloe currently was, with the caption, "Really want to go inside and see who bought the house I originally liked best." Chloe had me set as a special notification contact, so she saw my post almost immediately. Leo, let's go back home first. What's wrong, Chloe? It's not like it's our first time in the garden. Nobody's in the neighboring houses. What are you worried about? Leo lifted Chloe's chin, but her gaze kept drifting toward the courtyard gate. She pushed away Leo, who was in the throes of passion. I have something to do. We'll talk later, she said as she walked to the courtyard gate and cautiously peered outside. I knew she was checking to see if I was still outside the gate. Then, my phone rang. Hello, sweetheart? Why did you go look at the apartment by yourself? Didn't I say the houses there aren't great? If we're buying, let's get one in the city center. Chloe's anxious voice came through as soon as I picked up the phone. I calmly listened to her until she finished, then finally spoke. I've always loved this house, even though it no longer belongs to me. Still, I want to give it a chance. Chloe froze in stunned silence. Darling, are you talking about the house? Her voice carried a faint tremble. I didn't respond. After a long silence, Chloe finally said, Darling, if you truly like it, I can have someone inquire for you. You don't need to go see it yourself. How could I spot the subtle details I'd normally miss without seeing it myself? I spoke slowly. She fell silent again. Eventually she ended the call with vague excuses and immediately went to find Leo. Ethan Hayes, what kind of man plays games like this? If you really found out, you should confront me openly like a proper man would. What's with this guessing game? You think I'd still coax and humor you like before? She rode Leo with wild abandon, her every word dripping with resentment toward me. After venting their passions, the two of them collapsed together in the garden, basking in intimate contentment. My mood remains placid, no one knows what's on my mind right now. I've calmly accepted everything and just as calmly recorded this evidence. Mark followed my instructions and went downstairs early to prepare for their chance encounter. Just as Chloe had her fill of fun and was about to head home, she ran into Mark the moment she stepped out the door. "Mark, what are you doing here?" Chloe's expression changed instantly. They had practically collided face to face, pretending not to see each other was impossible. Mark pretended to be surprised. "Chloe, Ethan said you were on a business trip. What are you doing here?" Flustered, Chloe quickly explained, "I happen to have a client here. I came to deliver some materials and discuss cooperation." Mark looked at her meaningfully before explaining his own reason for being there. "Ethan said he regrets not buying the property here back then. His birthday is coming up soon, right? He just wanted to hold a birthday party here. I happen to know the developer here, so I thought I'd see if I could get in touch with the homeowner." Mark glanced at her again. "By the way, you just came out from here, didn't you? Since you know the homeowner, why don't you help relay the message?" Chloe's expression wavered, but she ultimately nodded in agreement. "My birthday was the next day. That evening, I told my family I had to work overtime and spent the night resting at the office. I don't want to go back and face Chloe, even her slightest touch makes me feel she's filthy. I can't stand sharing the same air early next morning. Chloe told me she'd prepared a grand birthday celebration for me. Darling, I've been up all night preparing this. I even invited several friends to help create your surprise." Chloe proudly showed off her efforts. "Alright, thanks. I'll be there soon." After hanging up the phone, I proceeded to send invitations to Chloe's parents as well as friends and relatives. At noon, I arrived punctually at the birthday banquet. "Darling, I love you, and I'm willing to be with you forever and ever." Chloe was the first one to come up to me, showing me her gift, a ring symbolizing eternal love. I just stared at her in silence, not speaking until a long moment had passed. "Chloe, how much longer are you going to keep pretending?" The room instantly fell silent, every pair of eyes darting toward me in disbelief. Chloe froze for a long moment before asking me, "Ethan, what are you talking about? Since when have I been pretending?" Her face was full of embarrassment. I glanced at her indifferently, then turned my gaze to the carefree Leo below the stage. "Playing dumb? You and Leo Vance, you're too scared to come clean to everyone, aren't you?" I sneered and asked coldly. Chloe's face instantly turned panicked as she took 2 steps back to look at me. "Ethan, what are you saying? Leo and I are just in a normal supervisor-subordinate relationship, aren't we?" She struggled to pretend nothing was wrong. "You must have misunderstood something. Just tell me first, and I promise I can explain everything clearly, okay?" Chloe gazed at me with tender affection, but I had completely lost all trust in her. Her words sounded like nothing but a joke to me. "Don't you think you're ridiculous?" I spoke slowly. "Just yesterday you told me not to play guessing games with you, and now that I've told you directly, why are you the one backing down?" After hearing my words, Chloe could no longer control her emotions. She stared at me in shock. "So it really was you yesterday." After calming down, she pleaded with me in a low voice. "Ethan, I know this must hurt you terribly, but please believe I truly love you in my heart. With so many people here today, can we let this matter pass for now? We'll discuss it privately later." Chloe begged me with a bitter smile, yet I remained unmoved by her pleas. "Humph, do you really think I chose this place for my birthday celebration by accident?" As I spoke, I instructed Mark to play the video I had prepared in advance on the large screen. The video was edited by me last night. Although blurred, the 2 people engaging in indecent acts were clearly identifiable as Chloe and Leo. For a moment, everyone present was stunned into silence. The always pure and aloof Chloe had actually cheated with her subordinate, even going at it in broad daylight in the garden. This completely shattered their perception of her. "No, this is a fake AI-generated video. It's not real." Chloe quickly denied it. I had anticipated she'd react this way. Why else would I have insisted on hosting the birthday party at this particular villa? Whether it's AI-generated fake footage or not, just step outside and compare the garden scenery. Could AI possibly replicate every single flower's color with such perfect accuracy? I spoke slowly. Chloe stared at me in numb silence. "Darling, why would you do this?" She stepped forward, trying to seize my hand. I took a step back, signaling her to restrain herself. "Didn't you promise to protect me forever? Why would you humiliate me in front of so many people?" Her expression was worse than crying, flushed with urgency and anger, drowning mostly in helplessness. "If you just talked to me about these things, I could have explained everything. But by releasing these videos, you've made sure we can never turn back." Chloe was crying nonstop in agitation. "You're the one who did wrong. You're the one who cheated. And yet somehow it's me who's at fault here. Who said I wanted your explanation? What I want is revenge. Do you even understand what revenge means? I wasn't planning to look back at all. As long as it's you standing behind me, I'll never turn around." I stared intently into Chloe's eyes. Ever since confirming yesterday that Chloe had betrayed me, I'd been completely sober. Perhaps in Chloe's eyes, I'm a complete and utter fool, someone who'd still painfully forgive her knowing she cheated on me. No, you wouldn't, you'd never do that. Chloe shook her head, weeping. My expression remained icy, devoid of any sympathy. Leo couldn't take it anymore. Enough already, you worthless bastard. Who the hell do you think you are? Leo stepped forward and hugged Chloe tightly, glaring at me with disdain. I calmly looked at him. There was nothing I needed to say to someone like him, but Leo sneered at me, taunting, "You can't blame Chloe entirely for the affair. After all, I'm just too outstanding, and you're nothing but trash. Not having a child all these years, unable to give Chloe emotional support, isn't it only natural she'd cheat on you?" Leo said nonchalantly. This time I was genuinely so angry that I laughed. "Chloe, did you tell him I couldn't?" I saw the anger in Chloe's eyes subtly shifting into resentment. Clearly, it was her own decision to be child-free. How did it turn into I couldn't when it came out of Leo's mouth? Chloe didn't dare answer my question. She just kept evading me with her sobs. Come on, Chloe. You were planning to ditch him after marriage anyway. Now that the Miller family doesn't even need his support to live comfortably, you might as well break up with him directly. Leo paid no heed to discretion and straightforwardly advised her. Hearing this, Chloe's relatives, friends, and even the company employees all became visibly anxious. Absolutely not. Our family is practically tied to the Hayes family. We rose to prominence by clinging to their coattails. Turning against them now would do us no good. Come on, Chloe, just apologize to Ethan and promise it won't happen again. Can't we just put this matter behind us? President Miller, think carefully. Your decision affects the survival of ordinary employees from both companies. These people desperately pleaded with Chloe, while I let out two cold laughs, shattering their illusions without hesitation. Since when did any of you get to make decisions for me? I glared coldly at those Miller relatives. Did they really think letting Chloe give me an apology would settle everything? If your wife cheats on you in the future, will you also settle for just making her apologize? It's not Chloe who's dumping me, I'm the one dumping her. I've already prepared the divorce agreement. The division of assets is perfectly fair. As for what happens to your Miller family in the future, that has nothing to do with us Hayeses. I stared coldly at everyone present. The reason I didn't invite my family or friends to this banquet was precisely because it was destined to be a hangman feast from the start. Mark handed the divorce papers to Chloe on my behalf. After carefully reading the contents, Chloe became visibly bewildered. Ethan, why have we come to this? Behind her were the complaints of family and friends, and in her hand was an agreement that denied over a decade of feelings between us. Before I could speak, Mark already lost his temper. Try asking yourself where the problem lies, okay? Chloe, you disgust me. I regret not joining the Hayeses in stopping Ethan back then. Mark and I have grown up together since childhood. At first, he couldn't accept the fact that Chloe had cheated, but now he fully empathizes with my perspective. Leo snorted coldly, then stepped forward and pulled Chloe into an embrace. All right, Chloe, this was bound to happen eventually. Isn't having me enough for you? As he spoke, he tilted Chloe's chin up and kissed her. But this time, Chloe instinctively slapped him. Leo froze. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Chloe quickly pushed Leo away and then came towards me. Ethan, please let me explain. I need to talk to you. Please, just hear me out, okay? Chloe clung to my arm, refusing to let go. I furrowed my brows. With all the cheating evidence already thrown in her face, what more could she possibly explain? Damn it, Chloe said she wants to speak. Are you fucking deaf? Leo had to butt in again. Just like countless times before, he never gave me a second thought. But this time he was wrong. I punched him hard in the face, and I clearly saw two of his teeth knocked out. How dare you hit me? Leo was furious and immediately turned to Chloe for help. Chloe, look at this guy, he actually dared to hit me. Chloe, however, hesitated briefly before continuing to beg me to talk things out. Mark had long been fed up with this bastard. He directly kicked out, sending the guy's head snapping sideways with the force. The remaining furious Miller family members, along with the executives of Chloe Corporation, also took turns punching and kicking him. Nearly everyone knew that without the support of my Hayes family, whether they could maintain their current status was questionable, let alone make any progress. I shoved Chloe's hand away. Please stay far away from me, you honestly make me sick. I glared coldly at Chloe. Perhaps the disdain in my eyes was too obvious, for she eventually loosened her grip. Ethan Hayes, do you really not want me anymore? Her voice trembled as she asked me. You were the one who betrayed me first. The once perfect birthday celebration had been turned into a complete mess by me. After today, almost everyone would know about Chloe's affair with her male assistant. Several companies simultaneously proposed terminating their collaborations, giving straightforward reasons they refused to work with an enterprise of compromised ethics. Ethan, why didn't you tell us about this sooner? Had we known, we'd have pulled out long ago. If not for your sake, who'd even consider working with the Millers? Exactly. You didn't treat us like real friends. A single word from you, and we'd have stood firmly by your side. The first to terminate contracts were all my friends. I smiled, thanked them for their kindness, and offered them appropriate compensation in return. It's said that after that day, Leo was rushed to the hospital, only to be attacked again by unidentified assailants there. In the end, it was Chloe who went to the hospital and managed to protect him. Chloe was overwhelmed with company affairs, but she still didn't forget to send me messages. My love, I truly know I was wrong. Can't you stop making such a big deal out of this? We grew up together as childhood friends. Can't all these years of affection make you forgive me just this once? I swear I was just out of my mind to be with Leo. Can you give me some time to sort this out? Chloe still hasn't shown any real remorse. She keeps saying she was wrong, but the next words out of her mouth are always demands for my forgiveness. How dare someone who truly did wrong even hope for forgiveness? What's more, she couldn't even bring herself to say she wouldn't contact Leo anymore. How could I possibly trust her after that? After blocking her, my world suddenly became much quieter. Meanwhile, Leo's background was exposed. He turned out to be a habitual offender. That bastard used to be a host at nightclubs. I took a liking to his body and brought him into my company with a monthly allowance of $30K. Only for him to spin some story about his mother being gravely ill and swindle $500K out of me before disappearing. I thought I'd never find that bastard in this lifetime, but who would have guessed he'd gone out scamming people again? Some went so far as to dig up Leo's home address and his family's contact details, subjecting them to relentless harassment calls that left the entire household overwhelmed. Leo's parents even posted videos online, firmly drawing a line between themselves and him. After Leo grew up, he stole $30,000 from his family and ran away. That $30,000 was his father's life-saving money, and now his father has been paralyzed for years due to lack of treatment. We truly have no idea what he's been doing outside. If he'd ever spent even a single cent on us, I'd take my old wife and die right now. Leo's mother spoke with absolute finality. Later, after thorough investigation, everyone realized she hadn't been wrong. Leo had been an utter scoundrel all along. He swindles money from everyone, befriending people just to scam them, working as a male escort to deceive wealthy women. Even when abandoned by all in the end, he still refused to rein in his ways. Just as everything descended into chaos, Chloe finally spoke up. I don't know who Leo was in the past, but I believe people can grow. His maturity is evident to me, and I'm convinced he'll surpass Ethan Hayes in the future. These words were posted on her Twitter. Although the statement lasted less than 10 minutes, it was widely reposted. Ethan, I didn't post that. Leo took my phone and posted it. Chloe immediately called to explain. I answered not because I cared about this nonsense, but to pressure her into signing the divorce papers sooner. Why are you telling me this? Should I even care? I frowned and retorted. Chloe froze, and after a long pause, she finally muttered that she understood. I answered your call to tell you, I'm giving you one last day. If you don't sign, I'll file a lawsuit. The current asset distribution was arranged by my lawyer. You know you'll lose if this goes to court, don't you? By then, you'll end up with even less money. Chloe remained silent for a very, very long time. Ethan Hayes, am I being foolish? Letting someone like Leo blind me? I thought carefully before finally answering her question. Even without Leo, there would have been a Tom, Dick, or Harry. While he's certainly to blame, the real problem lies in your own heart. I insist on divorce because you've changed. Your heart can never come back. I said calmly as suppressed sobs finally broke through the phone. I wouldn't listen, nor did I care to. Chloe, you brought this on yourself. Eventually, Chloe agreed to sign the papers, and everything proceeded with unsettling smoothness. Just while going through the formalities, Chloe knelt before me in public once again. Ethan, is there really no chance left for us at all? You know how much I care about Face. If you think there's even the slightest possibility we could get back together, please don't divorce me, okay? Disregarding others' stares, she resolutely knelt to beg me. I removed my heavy sunglasses, revealing my swollen, red eyes. I haven't been doing well during this period either, but I've already moved on, and I absolutely don't regret my decision. Don't you think it's ridiculous to still be keeping Leo at home while coming out to say these things to me? I looked at Chloe with a cold laugh. Even at this point, she still hadn't given up on Leo. You should know that Leo's background has long been exposed. To still accept such a scoundrel who deceived everyone everywhere and wasn't even acknowledged by his own family and friends, what more is there for me to say? I can only think that divorcing her was absolutely the right decision. Chloe seemed like she had a lot to say, but I knew it no longer mattered. Her regrets, her apologies, worthless to me. The next time I heard about Chloe was news of the Miller Group's bankruptcy and Chloe being fired from the company. Ever since her divorce, she's been spending all her time, day and night, with Leo. But once she ran out of money, Leo started looking down on her and even took up with someone new. There's no denying that someone like Leo has his ways, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to deceive one after another, with people still willingly falling for it. Her ex-father-in-law came to beg me to spare them a way out. The old man, who had never bowed his head to anyone in his life, knelt before me. In the end, I pointed them to a clear path, to start a business in another state. I could support them, but only under the condition that their entire family would serve me. After all, they treated me well back then. If it weren't for the incident with Chloe, we might have remained a family for much longer. Another winter arrived. In years past, I always longed for early snowfall because Chloe and I first got together on a day when snow was falling thick and fast. This winter was unusually cold, so cold that no matter how many layers I wore, I couldn't shake the chill. And Chloe died in this very winter. She couldn't accept Leo having a new lover, nor could she accept that she, once a golden girl, had become someone who now had to check rental prices before committing. Finally, during one of the times when Leo brought his new lover home to fool around, Chloe ended his life, and ended her own as well. When I heard this news, I only paused for 2 seconds. Perhaps it was 2 seconds, or perhaps just what I believed to be 2 seconds. Chloe, be with me in the next life, and don't cheat on me again. The end.